that debate. Let's go to Lauren Harper. She's a political consultant and formerly served as a South Carolina state director for Beto O'Rourke's campaign. Thanks so much for joining us today, Lauren.
Thanks for having me.
So, Lauren, what was your biggest takeaway from last night's debate and everything that we saw?
Yeah, I believe that Vice President Biden had a great night. He was ready to come on strong for South Carolina, and I think that he was able to show himself as a person who is worthy of people's votes here who want to consider voting for him as their candidate. I do believe that others had great nights as well. I think Mayor Pete made a great point when he noted that we're in a very black state here in South Carolina, but only all of them are white candidates, and we have to figure out what is the issue here, where we don't have a candidate who has similar ideologies, who is a candidate of color, still on the debate stage. So I think that many people had good nights, but I do think they did pretty well.
South Carolina Congressman James Clyburn, the highest-ranking African-American in Congress, announced he's endorsing Joe Biden. What's your reaction to the news?
I do believe that should be something that we're not totally surprised by, because Congressman Clyburn and Vice President Biden have had a very long-lasting, strong relationship over the past several decades. We were speaking, we saw Vice President Biden after the debate, and someone from the Young Dems was like, yeah, I'm a Clyburn Fellow, which is a program for young Democrats in the state. And Vice President Biden said, I'm a Clyburn Fellow too, because they do have a good relationship. So it was really interesting to see that Congressman Clyburn did continue on to support Vice President Biden, but not surprising.
Vice President Joe Biden is really banking on that African-American vote in South Carolina. How is he polling right now with that demographic? What can you tell us about that?
He's polling well, and I do believe that he has strong support here, whether you're going to events or even at the debate last night. He has a lot of support in the Black community here in South Carolina. I do believe he's going to do well, and I do believe that he's going to probably win South Carolina. But I will say folks like Tom Steyer have been putting in a lot of work over the past several months. His wife, Kat Taylor, was speaking at a spouse's luncheon yesterday for the South Carolina Democratic Party and talking about her investment in South Carolina, living in Columbia. So I do believe that Tom Steyer will get a portion of the Black vote as well, but I don't know if it will be enough to defeat Vice President Biden.
Well, let's go ahead and continue talking about Tom Steyer. He's actually polling high in South Carolina. How do you think he performed in that debate?
I think he had a good night. I think he was good to, he was able to articulate well his points about whether or not he believes democratic socialism will work, which he doesn't. And he was able to articulate that well. He also had really great closing remarks about why he believes that he's a strong candidate and what he is in the debate, in the candidacy for, believing that he wants to run a race with integrity and be true to his moral values. So I think those messages resonate well with voters across the state, Black and white voters, and I think that he had a good night as well.
And just to finalize, we're just a few days away from the state's primary. Do you think last night's debate will help any undecided voters actually make up their minds?
I sure hope so. I do believe that I was actually in a Lyft ride after the debate, and my driver was an African-American woman, and she was still undecided, to be honest. So I think that there are a lot of folks who were going into the debate with their favorite, and if they had a good night with their favorite, maybe they were going to go with that person. But I think it's possible that people will get to the ballot box on Saturday and make a final decision and just have to go with it.
Well, that'll be interesting. We will be watching and waiting for those results. Thanks so much, Lauren Harper, for joining us, and have a wonderful day.
Thanks for having me.